Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, Bob Lucey, the Washoe County Commissioner, here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Hello, is this D&D Roofing?
Yes, it is. How may I help you?
You did such a great job on my roof. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner.
Oh, can I speak to your supervisor?
Sure.
How may I help you?
I love your work. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner. We're all owners. Well, that's why at D&D we work so hard to keep your home safe and sound.
Oh, no wonder.
D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal. Local, employee-owned, here for you.
Retail's impact on Nevada's economy? Enormous. 8,600 businesses, large and small, employing 145,000 workers. And last fiscal year, retail paid tax on nearly $60 billion in sales. We're the Retail Association of Nevada. We support retail, we help it grow, and we mean business.
RANNV.org.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Truck drivers are some of the hardest working people you'll meet, delivering over 70% of America's freight and 92% of Nevada's. When there's a natural disaster, they're delivering critical supplies to help those communities recover and rebuild. Every sector of the economy and our nation's military rely on truck drivers. So let's take a moment to say thank you. On the open road or city streets, our truck drivers are rolling to make our economy and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're always pleased to welcome back to the program Bob Lucey. He's the Washoe County Commissioner. Thank you for being here today, sir.
Good morning. Nice to see you.
So we are taping this the morning after the meeting of the Washoe County Commission, where all these new rules were discussed and voted down 4-1. But would you start out by explaining who Jeannie Herman is, what it was that she was proposing, and how this meeting went?
Yeah.
And we only have a half an hour.
You got it. I will try to be as succinct as possible. Well, you know, Sam, Commissioner Herman is obviously the District 5 representative for Washoe County Commission. And so
mostly rural, right?
Mostly rural. So it is a majority of her district is everything from the North Valleys to the Oregon border. So a majority of it is rural ranch communities, very, very little population. So, but her urban population is the North Valleys, Cold Springs, Palomino Valley, that area, parts of Stead. So she's got a significant amount of representation that is growing, and that's where a lot of the new development is growing into. However, she's been a very strong conservative, very strong vocal conservative, and what she would like to call a true patriot is what she refers to herself as. And so in the last few years, she's always spoke about election fraud and how she feels that this has never been something that she has been addressed, and she really feels that there is something that the commission should have done, but has never really brought forth a issue or a sort of a solution to that problem that she claims to be out there. So in the last month or 2 months, she has brought forth finally a resolution that she's been working on with a very passionate group, members of the Washoe GOP party and some other different, to bring forth this voter integrity resolution. And when they brought it forth over the last 2 months, we've had the LCB and a number of different individuals take a look at this, even our own DA, and provide us an opinion. And This resolution in itself had 20 different items from...
Name some of them, will you?
Yeah, I mean, to staging the polling stations with security, either the National Guard, and now that was then adjusted to the Sheriff's Office. Changing changing to paper ballots, to stealth ballots that would be printed on our security paper. Changing of poll worker hours, having bipartisan poll workers and poll watchers. You would have had a number of different things, such as like she didn't want individuals to. I think one of them was married couples couldn't work together at the. It was absurd. Some of the requests that came within the resolution. And ultimately, at the conclusion of the opinion from the DA's office and the LCB, is that only about 3 or 4 of the actual items within the resolution were under the purview of the commission. The rest of it was either in state law or in federal law and wasn't within even our ability to change. Same day, they wanted voter ID. Well, that is acceptable by federal law, but that is not within the state legislature. That is not something we require here in the state of Nevada. And that would have been a legislative change, but they wanted us to make those types of changes at the county commission level, things that we couldn't have done. So yesterday, when we took the vote, we basically explained to Commissioner Herman and the remainder of the group, who were very adamant and very passionate about this, that this was not something we could have done.
How many people normally show up for a county commission meeting?
On any given day, even on a big issue, you might see 10, 15, maybe 20.
And how many were here yesterday?
It was 300 plus in the auditorium, plus we had overflow into the lobby, which I couldn't even see because we were stuck in the chambers, and there must have been another 100 people in the outside.
So what was the majority opinion of the audience?
So yesterday, for the weeks leading up to the resolution, the majority have been pro the resolution, pro voter integrity, pro making these changes. But yesterday, it was about 4-1 against the resolution. I received on Monday alone at least 1,000 emails, and out of those 1,000 emails, I had 4-1 against moving forward with the resolution.
All right, and I should point out, you're a Republican.
I am a Republican.
So it's not like you're a Democrat saying this is a Republican issue and I'm against it.
No. I mean, there was, and I want to be very clear, there are things that were suggested in the resolution that I feel were reasonable.
For example?
For example, there was changing the colors on some of the provisional ballots so that people understood that they were getting a mail-in ballot, or poll workers were receiving a mail-in ballot versus an absentee ballot. Maybe some differentiation for audit purposes down the road. Shift poll worker hours. They're long hours. We asked our poll workers to work 7 to 7 so that we maintain chain of custody of these ballots. And so there were some discussions to be had in regards to that. I was willing to have discussions about a few other things on the resolution that might have worked, but we haven't had a chance to work through that with the Secretary of State. We haven't had a chance to work through that with our Registrar of Voters. What can we do in such a short period of time? Because we have a primary coming up. Filing has just closed. We know who's going to be on the ballot. We've got to get these ballots printed and get them ready to be mailed out. And June's just around the corner, so we don't have a whole lot of time. And so to make some of these substantial changes to an election process, we need to start doing that now and do it. And so it needs some time to get vetted.
Okay, and as you pointed out, there are legal obstacles to this thing en masse
Yes.
going through. All right, so let's talk about election fraud and election integrity. And I can't imagine there's anybody in this country that doesn't want to see election integrity and no election fraud, even though there's always going to be something, even if it's one person that's breaking the law, you're going to have something, and we have been, I think, in this state very good, as they have across America, of catching people who are committing fraud.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that I want to pose here and get your thoughts on, so if somebody who is claiming that there is election fraud before the election wins their race, where do they then stand in terms of election fraud and election integrity?
And see, and that's where I find myself in the same.
It's a conundrum, isn't it?
It is. It's a unique conundrum because it truly is one of those thought processes and discussions that how can you say there's election fraud and then win a race? And this is what my argument was yesterday. Most of the individuals walked up and said there was absolute fraud in the 2018 and 2020 cycles that could be proven, and too many voters, and there were so many voter counts. And I said, well, if that was the case, wouldn't you think one party or another would have put a majority of theirs in if it was the Republicans in the lead at the federal level? Don't you think that they would have had the ability to put more Democrats in, or if the Democrats were in control of what was the play there? And I miss that, because if you look at Washoe County's races, if you go back over those cycles, every race in the 18 and 20 general elections weren't won by 5, 10, 15 votes. They were won by thousands of votes. Thousands of votes on down ticket races, votes that had lots of undervotes. And so when you think about that, that wouldn't make any sense. You would utilize those undervotes, to change or alter these races, and those races weren't. And it went Democrat, Republican, and it was in the districts that they were, that were heavily either slanted one way or another. And so it didn't make any sense. There wasn't enough data. At first glance, there's not enough data that shows that there's fraud. Now, there was probably fraud. There's probably a little bit of fraud, slight fraud throughout our country. And people probably committed on both sides all the time.
And there are people prosecuted for this.
And there are people prosecuted for it.
The system works really well in catching these people.
Absolutely. But you can't necessarily point out that happened here in Washoe County, because I can't see it in the races that happened over the 2020 election and in the 2018 election. Because, for the Joe Biden-Donald Trump race in 2020, Donald Trump lost in Washoe County, lost in Clark County, and lost the electoral votes. But however, in 2018, he also lost in Washoe County, lost in Clark. Hillary Clinton won the state, but he won due to the electoral college. So it's not, there's a differentiation. When you start talking about these numbers and what you're talking, you can make any number or any set of data look the way you want it to if you spend enough time and put enough numbers to it. Any analyst will tell you that.
Oh, absolutely. Talk about that with television and radio ratings.
Right.
If you go in and do the numbers right, and I've seen people do it, you can come up with some very interesting numbers of who's winning and who's losing. Do you feel that this whole debate is not so much about the actual integrity of elections that have been held so far, but more about casting a shadow over the integrity of elections, period, and therefore raising doubt in the minds of people that their vote actually counts?
Actually, Sam, I think it's larger than that. I think it's not. I think they're utilizing election integrity as a vehicle. I think people's trust in government in whole has been challenged. I think people have, through the pandemic, through the recession, over the last 2 decades, I think people have lost trust in our leaders. And because they've seen do as I say, not as I do from a lot of individuals. And you've seen it even more in the last 10 years with social media, the growth of social media, and the ability for people to become apparent superstars by being a political figure. And speaking to people in what I like to say clickbait or taglines. And it's frustrating because so much of the issues that we work on and so much of the things that we do aren't necessarily headline news. It's very arduous, tedious work.
It's mundane.
It's mundane. It's behind the scenes mundane work that we have to do. And it's not sexy, it's not newsworthy. But people don't care about that. But then you have a few of those individuals like to stand up and project themselves into this spotlight and utilize the government as a new form, as kind of a social influence. And so they're using voter integrity in some of these hot button issues to really drive their name ID. And you see that in some of our governor candidates. You see that in some of our U.S. Senate candidates. You see that in the local races. You know, you're seeing these hot button issues being used as ability to garner support because people have lost trust and they want to feel included in something that they believe in. And voter integrity just happens to be that hot button number right now.
And you know, as well as I do, that this has been going on since the Greeks and the Romans.
Correct.
Let's take a break. We'll be back more with Bob Lucey after this timeout.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Before the masks, before the distancing, before the world changed, UMC was ready. Our response to COVID-19 began before the crisis did, with our own team of infectious disease experts who've spent their careers planning for this moment. With a pandemic response plan, we'd practiced again and again, and by blazing new trails in large-scale testing, including every patient we admit. Always ready. UMC.
The signs and symptoms of cataracts can start out small with subtle changes in your vision. So don't wait. Be proactive and take your vision into your own hands. If you're experiencing the onset of cataracts or just have questions, contact your eye care professional or call Eye Care Associates of Nevada today. Dr. Hiss has years of experience specializing in the surgical correction of eye disorders and has completed over 84,000 vision correcting procedures. At Eye Care Associates of Nevada, we'll change the way you look at the world.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Bob Lucey. He's the Washoe County Commissioner. You know, I've felt ever since Donald Trump was ran and then was elected president, that the reason that he was so electable was that for so many years, politicians had promised things on a national level and then didn't deliver. There was the campaign and then there was governing, and they were two completely distinct things.
Yeah.
And with the advent of social media and more communications, that the public now had an ability and a voice and an ability to communicate with each other, and they were looking for somebody that was not part of the normal structure that they felt they knew because of 18 years on The Apprentice, and, you know, in quotes, a solid negotiator. And whether you like him or not, doesn't matter. I'm just saying that this is a person that people turn to. Jesse Ventura was another one in Minnesota years ago.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Although he actually turned out to be a fascinating politician.
He did. He wasn't fascinating. Ronald Reagan. I mean, you go back and you see some of these names.
Right.
That were led by, you know, more public careers in something that's not as mundane as politics or business, right?
All right, but coming back to the point though, so the reason that Donald Trump was so electable was that he didn't appear to be a regular Republican or a Democrat, even though he had supported both in the past. He appeared to be somebody who people could follow and that would bring change.
Right.
It's up to people to decide for themselves whether he brought the change they wanted or not.
Right.
But he's still the titular head of the Republican Party. And so, you know, we're in a whole new era of mistrust, as you say, of government, And the question is, how, if it can, does government get back the trust of the public to believe that a very conservative Republican Secretary of State in Nevada, Barbara Safsky, did a great job in the last election? Because there's a lot of people think that she didn't, and that's crazy.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting, Sam, because when you talk about that type of sentiment towards someone who's worked diligently, Barbara Safsky has been one of the strongest secretaries of state we've ever had in this, and we're very, very lucky in our state. And when you see someone like that be disenfranchised by the Republican Party, yet you've had somebody who, as you pointed out, Donald Trump, who had The Apprentice for 14 years. One of the things we heard yesterday on the dais is, I feel disenfranchised. I feel disenfranchised from voting. I feel disenfranchised from my government. I feel disenfranchised on both sides, whether it was Republican or Democrat, it didn't matter. Everybody who approached the podium, and so what I see and what I feel is happening is we're making this paradigm shift into this new type of reality of government, where the general individual who has felt disenfranchised by the larger government, the swamp, the senators that they could never get in contact with, that they just sent to D.C. and never heard from again, are now being contacted. And you saw with Donald Trump during his presidency, he was very active. He didn't stop really campaigning. He was always out. When he wasn't working on policy in D.C., he would be within the country, visiting the communities and going to different events, and he was very, very active, more active than I've seen the Biden administration be. And when you see those types of things, that really relates to the general populace, because they want to still feel like they have a voice in the election. They don't want to go to the ballot box and think that they're just putting a check mark next to a name, that they'll never get to talk to you. They'll never feel that they're going to move forward. They just have to believe that hopefully this guy will, or this person will follow some of their similar thoughts and processes. And that's just not what's happening. And now you see these different people that are stepping in and really making that attempt to change that feeling with the general public. And I think that's what you're seeing with people like Jesse Ventura and Donald Trump and some of these other candidates that are really making that step.
All right, let's take another break. Back with Bob Lucey after this.
Dimitri Prine here for Design Outdoor. Are you a homeowner who's interested in remodeling or building a home? At Design Outdoor, we can show you how adding natural or manufactured masonry stone can add beauty and value to your home. And we refer only the best contractors. Our store and backyard are located at 11600 South Virginia, just north of DeMonte Ranch Parkway. Visit designoutdoor.com or call us at 851-9499.
Hey guys, are you watching the game at a friend's or the bar again because you can't watch at home with your wife? Or worse, because she kicked you out and kept your couch, your flat screen, and your kids? What's the one thing a man needs when he loses a good woman? A good lawyer. And when he loses a bad woman, he needs a great lawyer. What makes a good woman a bad woman? You tell me. You're the one that can't watch the game in your own home. I'm men's rights attorney Marilyn York, and I represent men in divorce, custody, and family law matters.
Hi, I'm Dave Newman. Remember me? I used to be the house detective, and now I'm a realtor, full-time at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates. A lot of people ask me, how's the market? You know what? It's fantastic. If you're even kicking around the idea of buying or selling, give me a call. Let's talk about it. Call me at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates and just ask for the guy who used to be the house detective, Dave Newman.
Everyone is talking about opioids, but they're not the only drugs that can be harmful if taken in large quantities or not as prescribed. You also need to be aware of side effects from anxiety drugs, muscle relaxants, sleep aids, and stimulants. Mixing prescription drugs with other drugs or alcohol can be dangerous. If you take an Ambien with a glass of wine, it may be enough to stop you from breathing. Prescribed drugs can be just as dangerous as illegal drugs. Take medications only as directed.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Bob Lucey. He's the Washoe County Commissioner. So in the minute and a half we have left, how does Ukraine and what's going on there affect our election?
Oh, well, I think, one of the biggest things that you see out of Ukraine is because it has changed geopolitically, the economy across the world. And when people's pocketbooks are being impacted, I think that makes a difference. And I think that's going to have a challenge on our upcoming elections for everybody, from state and federal and local officials, because we're going to need to make some changes so that people's checkbooks. I think the economy still is going to be a big topic this November for a number of politicians that are going to have to come up and really speak to that issue.
Okay, and which way do you think it's going to go? Do you see the red wave that others are talking about?
You know what? I think the Republicans have an opportunity, but I hate talking about the red wave or blue wave because it's always, you say something like that and things change. But I think it's always, Nevadans have been impressive to me in that they've always picked the candidate, not the party. And I hope that's really what the case is this November and June. I hope they pick the candidate and not the party, because it's really about being a Nevadan and really supporting our state and really making sure that we're doing the right thing for our future and our children.
Bob Lucey, always a pleasure to have you on the program, sir.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you, and we'll be right back. Brian Culpa Photography was born in the rolling hills of Massachusetts, and now he can help you experience the stunning beauty of Nevada in a whole new way through the power of flight. Flying has always been a passion for Brian, and at Brian Culpa Photography, he can make your imagination soar. Brian has the creative mind and tools to tell your unique story. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
The Do It Right guys at Nevada Heating have one mission. Your air conditioner breaks down today. We fix it today. Why sweat for days while your air is down, when Nevada Heating can get the job done today, and you can get cool again? For nearly 50 years, locally owned Nevada Heating has been getting the job done right. Call today at 323-5585 or see us online at nevadaheating.com.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's Development Company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's Development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Take a look at Pro Group Management and see how your workers' comp requirements can be met head-on. By taking a proactive approach, Pro Group can assure that your company is meeting or exceeding state and federal standards. As you move forward in your industry, Pro Group moves with you, simplifying regulatory tasks, clearing the way so you can get the job done and look to your future success. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
As always, you can watch Nevada Newsmakers 24 hours a day at nevadanewsmakers.com. You can also check our archive going back to 2005 on our website. Again, nevadanewsmakers.com. We'll see you on the next show.